make us wise. May you always open your eyes and make spirits make us wise as you listen to people's side. Give us, dear Lord, from you deep faith. Let us see that you're here to save. Walk with us through the wave that's tried. Give us assurance as we fight. Walk with us through the wave that's tried. Give us assurance as we fight. Amazing is your love so deep, dear Lord, to glorify you, so that all the peoples proclaim. May you always open your eyes and may your spirit make us wise. As you listen to people's side, let's leave the thoughts and quit all blocks. Let's spread the Lord, and He came to win, He took us in. He came to win, He took us in. Rose from death to eternal life, dear Lord, to glorify your name, so that all the people proclaim. May you always open your eyes and may you speak. Make us wise. May you always open your eyes and make us wise as you listen to people's side. Have no one, we have no one. We turn our eyes to the only one, our Lord divine, our Lord look down, our Lord divine, our Lord look down. For you, dear Lord, our only one, dear Lord, to glorify your name, so that all the peoples proclaim. May you always open your eyes and may you speak. Make us wise. May you always open your eyes and make us wise as you listen to people's side.
All right, good evening, everyone. How you all doing? So we've been having the kids actually all day today. Actually, this year we've had a great attendance, and we've been able to have this is the same exact theme. We talked about the altar. So we had two groups, the high school and the middle school, and we've actually so far today had a great time discussing this whole idea of the altar. And we're trying to get to the kids, and that's actually where I'd like us to do a bit of a discussion today, okay? Because sometimes. And I will talk actually out of a bit of struggle and where I would actually want to hear from all of you. So I've got a 15-year-old, a 12-year-old, and a 10-year-old, okay? So we're trying to get to them, what is the meaning of the altar as a relationship with God? So sometimes we're blamed as Coptic Orthodox that we tell them what to do, but we don't really get them to relate, okay? And then as the kids grow older and as I get to see them sometimes when they're in college and even graduates, they've lost that connection. And I can tell you, honestly, and this is a confession, all day today I've been meeting with people who've graduated and lost that connection. Trust me, they know all the hymns. They know all the prayers. They know everything. But they've lost that connection. So since we're talking about the altar, I want us to go back as kids and as families and ask some questions and then discuss. Because I'm sure all of you have kids, either they're little or they're older. or have been in the same situation. And the fundamental question about the discussion, how can we, as Coptic Orthodox parents, servants, and a church, get our kids to make the connection between what we pray and what we do in church, whether it is liturgy, Eucharist, Agbeya, Tasbeha, all that, to make the connection to love God. So, first question, and just, we had actually an audience response, but we'll just do a little bit of show of hands. Okay, first question. How many of us as families do pray with our kids every day in some way or shape? Just raise up your hands. Okay, raise up your hands. Every day in some sort, outside of like saying grace at the meal. Outside of saying grace at the meal. We actually take it out of us that we actually bring our kids and pray every day. Okay. Okay. A lot of work to do, Ebuna. Okay. All right. So, second question. How many of us as parents, in some way or shape, kind of like check on our kids that they have prayed every day? They checked on them. You just checked on them. It was like, hey, did you pray? Okay. All right. A little bit better. We're making progress. How many of us would say that we would almost assign or give our kids an assignment in terms of the Agbeya? Okay, I want you today to pray, the prayer of Thanksgiving. Psalm 50. Like, actually, you're very specific. You're not just like, hey, did you pray tonight? No, you've actually went the extra step of giving them assigned prayers. Okay, very few. All right, how about reading the Bible? Let's kind of shift a little bit gears to reading the Bible. How many of us read the Bible with our kids? I would say 5 out of the 7 days of the week. Okay, so reading the Bible is a little bit better. Okay. Another question, and then we'll actually open the discussion just once we're kind of opening up a little bit there. How many of us would go to church, to liturgy as a family versus individual? As a family. Let's start as a family. Okay. All right. So now the tough questions. The tough question. To the kids. So this is now this section. How many of you guys would say you enjoy praying? Wow. Wow. I'm proud of you. Let's give them a big hands. Let's give them a big hands. Okay. All right. So this question is for the kids again. Question for the kids. Let's kind of give them some attention. So at this point, if you raise your hand or you don't raise it, your parents are far away so they can't see you. How many of you guys would say that you actually pray almost every day? Okay. How many of you would pray more than once a day? And here I'm not talking about saying Abana Lezi before eating your meal and you just say, okay? How many would pray more than once a day? Okay. All right. Who would pray first thing in the morning? Okay. How about who would pray? You can put your hands down. Who would pray before they go to bed? Very nice. So, but I find it a bit interesting. So in the morning you guys don't remember, but at night before you go to bed, more people remember. Interesting. Okay. So high school group. How many of you know by heart Thanksgiving prayer, Psalm 50, and have mercy on us, O Lord, and have mercy? You know it by heart. You're not using your phone for it. Okay. That's very, very good, actually. I'm very, very pleased. Very pleased. Okay. Also, high school kids. How many of you would say that you enjoy the liturgical prayers of our church? Okay. All right. Interesting. So clearly you can see that as they grow a little bit, you know, from when they are younger and they're kind of getting into the habit, okay, that it wanes off. So now let's kind of open for discussion. Do we have a mic that can go around? So I want to start with the kids and then we're going to hear to the parents. So question to the kids, and we're going to take a younger kid than an older kid. Can you, in a simple word, tell us what happens when you pray, whether by yourself or at church? What happens when you pray? Not what you say, what happens? Yes. You've got your hand up there. Yes. Yes, go ahead.
Well,
stand up. You got to stand up and say your name.
I'm Justina.
Okay. Hi, Justina.
So when I pray, I close my eyes and I really feel like God is within me. And when I pray, I really feel like it's going up into heaven.
Okay, that is beautiful. Can I ask you a more question? Do you feel more comfortable praying just, you know, you're yourself praying like this? Or actually you like to hold something that is like, you know, with the Agbeya, for example, and you pray from that? Or you mix and match? What do you do?
I mostly pray with my prayers inside.
Your own prayers? Okay. Have you tried praying with the Agbeya, maybe even just a small part?
Yeah, I did.
You did. Did you feel a difference?
A little bit.
In what way?
Sometimes when I pray in Agbeya, it's like beautiful words in the Psalms and the Gospel, and it helps me add into my prayer.
Okay. How many times during the week would you say you pray by the Agbeya?
Twice a week.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, Justina. Thank you. All right. I want somebody from the high school group. Somebody from the high school group. Okay. All right. There you go. Somebody's got his hand up here. High school? Okay. So, question, what do you think happens when you pray?
Well, it's a very similar response to Christina over there, actually.
Sorry, what's your name?
My name's Andrew.
Hey, Andrew.
I really feel like I'm not in my body. I feel like I'm in heaven. I'm talking to God.
Maybe not din. Okay.
And it's a completely different experience. It's outside anything I've ever done.
Okay.
And it's
What
something I look
is
forward to
the
every
most
day.
common way that you pray?
Usually, I mean, I kind of have a structure. I pray a lot at night. I just pray, you know, with my own words.
Okay.
And then I take some time to read the midnight hour in the Agbeya. And then I read a chapter in the Bible.
Okay. Very
And
nice.
that's how I pray.
Thank you. So, another question for the whole group. I'm sure that some of you guys struggle with prayer. Right? Some of you struggle with maybe coming to liturgy. I can tell you, for example, when I have my kids, not all of them just jump on and say, okay, hey, we're going to liturgy, yay! When you struggle, what happens? What's the reason? Why does it sometimes become hard to pray? Okay, so we'll pick one buddy from the young and somebody from the older. Okay, she had her hand over there. Yes, yes. There you go. Stand up, tell us your name, and then we'll choose one of the high school.
My name's Marola.
Hey, Marola. That's a beautiful name.
Thank you. I think that people struggle because they wake up too early and they get really hungry.
Okay. Okay. I like that. How about you yourself? Have you struggled, you yourself, with prayer before? Like you didn't feel like you wanted to pray?
I always struggle because, like, I feel like
Let me ask you another question. When you pray, is it easy for you to feel that God is there, or not so much?
well, it takes time for me,
Okay.
and sometimes I feel like it, and sometimes I feel like I'm not really paying attention to what I'm saying.
That's very honest. Thank you. Okay. when you get to feel that God is present, how would you describe that?
I feel happy when he's present. I smile, and I feel like I'm really paying attention to what I'm saying.
That is beautiful. That's why Christ said, bring those kids to me. Thank you. Thank you. How about somebody from the high school? عايزين بقى كلام كده كبير. You had your chance. You had your chance. عايزين إيه حد كده من العالم اللي هي إيه بتوع الهاي سكول اللي تعبنا. ها؟ حد من بتوع يعني إيه ما انتوا يعني طلعوها كده بس on one إنما في دي ما حدش يتكلم. Why do you struggle sometimes in church or coming to liturgy or staying engaged? I can pick, by the way. I know you all out there, so I can pick. Huh? You want to? Okay, all right. There's somebody here. Okay, yes, sorry. We have somebody there as well? Okay, we'll use both of them. Just, okay. Let's get her the microphone here. And then also whoever is there is going to talk. We can listen to them. Go ahead. Just tell us your name.
My name's Maurice.
Mike, a little bit closer.
Maurice. All right. I struggle going to liturgy because I feel like it's the same every single Sunday, so it's very like redundant, and I don't feel like I'm praying from like my actual heart. I just feel like I'm repeating words every single Sunday that everyone else is repeating. So
staying concentrated and staying focused.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you pray for most of the time, how do you pray? Like when you're on your good day, how do you pray?
On a good day?
Yeah. Like how would you do it?
Like individually at night.
Individually?
Yeah, I just pray by myself. And
Okay. Okay. Anyone else from over there wants to share? Okay. Can you just give him the microphone here? Yes. Stand up and mention your name.
Hi, my name is Samuel. And what I struggle with is...
a little bit closer. Just put a little bit closer.
Sometimes when I pray, when I think about praying, I tell myself, oh, I'm too busy. Or other times, oh, I have to study. Or I'll pray later. And then I end up not praying at all. Or other times, I'm too lazy to pray. And I just decide, oh, I'll just pray in my bed. And not actually feel the presence of God that's with me.
Okay. So, thank you so much. Appreciate it. So, as you guys can see, and this is where I'm actually going to turn to the advice to you as parents, and also for all of us to share. I see that the problem is in three things. Number one, our kids are starting to lose the connection between prayer and relationship. Okay? Number two, our kids are starting to lose that richness of the structured prayer in the church, like the Agbeya. And although we want them to have that freedom of individual prayer, but they're doing it more at the cost, of completely almost neglecting the Agbeya. And that would be the question of, okay, how can we balance? Well, in some sense, we want them to have that individual prayer, but never at the cost of the structured prayer, because it has the richness of it. So that's the second problem. The third problem is how the kids to stay engaged on a weekly basis with the liturgy. Because it becomes a bit of a forcing thing. Because if there is an altar for the family, I think prayer is a prime altar. So these are the three problems that I see a lot when I talk to the kids. So let's start with the first one. How do you make the transition or the connection for the kids between prayer and relationship? What would you advise them? Yes. Let's get the mic to you. All right, kids, so this is some advice for you guys, so just listen, okay?
Now, don't take it as an advice. You never accept advice, so just take it in a different way. I think it all starts by imitation. If my kid is only 7 so far, so I can say that I really understand their mentality, but the only thing is, it's imitation. If they really see that when we as grown-ups pray and live what we pray with, I think they might see that really prayer matters, makes difference so it will make difference in their life. If they only see us as a habit, go back and forth to church every week or even prayer every night, and our life is not different, I don't think this will make any difference for them, and they will not even feel that this will make any effect in their life. So it all starts by imitation. If our life is different because of our prayers, they might think that this will make an effect in their life.
So what's your name? I didn't get your name.
Shaker.
Shaker. Thank you so much, Shaker, for the comment. And to talk about the imitation, okay? And I'll tell you something, and you can, Hani Ashamallah would remember this. Because the kids see us. And how many times do we as a church, for example, talk about the hymns of the communion, Fuat al-Tawziyah, when it's supposed to be the holiest of the holy time? Okay? And it's the most time when everyone is talking and texting on their phone. When Henya and I were in Ethiopia this last year, it was our first time that we were allowed to attend an Ethiopian Orthodox liturgy in Aksum, which is their holiest place. And we saw something very interesting. So this was a tradition that was very interesting. And you talk about that tradition. Henya, you remember that? So after we took communion, we were standing there, first time, and like, you know, and then we found somebody coming to us and like, you know what, shaking us on our shoulder. It's like, just itnawilna. So over there they wear a shawl. You've seen them with this shawl. So with this shawl, they all, after they have the Eucharist, all of them, who had Eucharist, and the rest, even who didn't have the Eucharist, would put the shawl on their mouth. And they would keep it on their mouth until they leave the church. Until they leave the church. It's not just because like after we take communion and we just put it over there. And we ask them after that, why do you do that? And it's primarily to prevent them from talking, that's number one. Number two, to give them that sense of there's a bodily action that gives them the acknowledgement of the sacredness of what they had. So to your point, Shaker, you know, it's imitation. If they see us like during communion and we're just very nonchalant about it, chit-chatting and talking and on our phone texting, what message do they get? So thank you for your comment. Any other comments from the parents? Yes. Yes, I will get the microphone to you. برضه هنجيب لك مايكروفون. Just عرفنا بنفسك.
أنا اسمي ألبرت. أعتقد إنه عشان نخلي عيالنا تبقى مع الكنيسة أعتقد لازم يختبروا المسيح. من غير اختبار المسيح مش هيقدروا يحسوا إيه الفرق ما بين وجود المسيح في حياتهم وعدم وجود المسيح في حياتهم. أنا شخصياً كان في مناقشة ما بيني وما بين واحد مش مؤمن، يعني هو راجل ملحد، فما قدرتش اوصل له يعني ايه ربنا. قلت له بس انا ما اقدرش، انا مش هكون فير لان انا عندي علاقة خاصة مع المسيح، عندي علاقة خاصة مع ربنا. فخليت يعني الكلمة ديت خليتني احس انه مش يعني موضوع القداس وموضوع الصلاة وحاجات زي كده مش هي دي، لازم يكون في علاقة خاصة بينه وبين.
طب لو أنا كده يعني تشالنج little bit موضوع يعني الفرخة الأول ولا البيضة الأول؟ ما المشكلة إحنا مع أولادنا إحنا بنعمل العلاقة من خلال الصلاة. طب ما هو لو ما عندوش علاقة مش هيستمتع بالصلاة.
إحنا بنزقهم يعني.
How do you get that؟
بص أقول لك على حاجة.
English okay.
بص أقول لك على حاجة، يعني إحنا كل دورنا إن إحنا نزقهم، وهو ربنا بيديهم زي زمان ولما كنت صغير هيدوقك من حلاوته. وبعد كده.
So what he's saying is that for you guys is to, in some sense, to be pushed in consistently coming to church, and then at some point, almost by the grace of God, you'll learn to do it. You know, sometimes that pushing works, sometimes it doesn't work. Yes.
It's never going to stick. If someone is praying with something he doesn't understand, it will never stick. So sometimes it takes between the young and the adult questions and answers. What that mean? Sunday school servant explain also what liturgy is, what special parts in it, and what happens in every part. Abuna, I remember you did something, educational liturgy, that was very, very helpful. We used it in Sunday school. And we taught the kids what every part of the liturgy means, and that get them engaged. Also, in the Agbeya prayers, we take like psalm by psalm and try to explain to them what it means. So when they pray, they know what the meaning of each word. That makes a difference. But if they pray only repeat words without
Can I
understanding,
challenge you a little bit in something? Do you think that we are under a threat at this point as a Coptic church of losing our heritage in terms of Agbeya, Tazbah? Because we're trying to encourage our kids to be a bit express themselves, okay? And they pray freely, which is good. You know, you find more kids praying freely at this point. But are we at a threat of losing our heritage in terms of the Agbeya, for example? Like, you've seen how many kids, when I just did a poll, okay, when you talk about, okay, praying Agbeya, it's becoming, you know, less than 10%. So where are we at? Is that good or bad? Do you think, is there a creative solution for that? Yes. Do you mind if we just wait until we get the microphone? Yeah, just the microphone. Sure, go ahead.
البطولة حلوة، ففي سن بيحب البطل، فنعود ولادنا يقروا سير القديسين. دي أحلى حاجة تخلي الطفل يحب ربنا قوي. وبعد كده القدوة من الوالدين بيروحوا الكنيسة وبيشوفوا أولادهم بيشوفوهم بيصلوا بيقروا الإنجيل، على طول الطفل هيعمل كده. بس البطولة بيحس إنه بطل حب المسيح وعمل حاجة عشان المسيح.
So one of the ways and advice is to actually make this connection, is to actually look at the church and the heroes of the church. Like a lot of you would know, the Desert Fathers would know their stories. If you connect to them as a hero, okay, and know what they've done, that would serve to you as an example to how to live it. Okay, there's somebody in the back there. There are actually two in the back. Okay, yeah, تفضل حضرتك وبعد كده we'll come to you after that.
بيتهيألي إن if we try to let our kids know that Baba Yesua is one individual, very important individual in our family. Like الصبح مثلا احنا قلنا صباح الخير لبابا يسوع، احنا قلنا good morning daddy, good morning mommy. Did we say good morning بابا يسوع؟ كمان لو في مثلا عندنا حالة سك، أي حد مثلا ابنه أو بنته بيتعب، يعود الولد إن احنا طب ما تعال نقول لبابا يسوع، بابا يسوع can you help me, can you اشفي فلان أو اشفي فلانة النهارده. فإن احنا نعامل الولد إن بابا يسوع ده جزء من العيلة بتاعتنا، بنحتاج له، بنكلمه في الصبح، بنكلمه في الليل. من خلال ده ممكن ندخل أي حاجة احنا عايزينها. لو عايزينه يصلي 7 صلوات هيبقى ده وقت بابا يسوع هيصلي.
I agree with you. It works a lot when they're younger. As they get into high school, it becomes a big challenge. And I think that's the struggle of this age. We'll listen to this comment, and then I'd like to maybe hear 1 or 2 more comments from the high school kids, and then I'll let Abuna Daoud comment on that. تفضل حضرتك.
روماني، أنا عندي أعتقد أول مشكلة إن إحنا مستوى التطلعات بتاعتنا أكتر من الإمكانيات اللي عاطينها للولاد، بمعنى إن إحنا عندنا انفصام في الشخصية. عايزين الولاد يبقوا حلوين وإحنا ما عندناش ده. يعني إحنا ما تكذبش، وممكن يشوف بابا بيكذب، ما تحلفش، ما تغضبش. دي حاجة تاني، ما عندناش القدوة الكتيرة في الكنيسة. يعني ممكن يكون مجتمع خدمة تطلع 1 أو 2 ممكن يبقوا خدام اللي هم يتمثل بيهم. أنا آسف إن أنا بنقد يعني. حاجة ثالثة، إحنا ما عندناش إعداد قادة تطلع جيل كويس. فدي الحاجات اللي إحنا بتنقذنا، اللي ممكن تساعدنا إن إحنا نخلي الولاد كويسين.
So, what he was giving, thank you, he was giving a certain criticism of how we lack certain examples in our church that you guys would be able to follow these examples. And that's the main thing of why you guys are not picking up on that. So, high school guys.
George, can I interrupt?
Yes, go ahead.
You have been asking us a lot of questions, and I think it's about time we ask you and Abuna some questions. So,
I was trying to get away from that.
Yeah, so Abuna, you raised 2 teenagers. Both of them are adults now. One of them already has a baby, so we can't argue how well you raised them. So how many times they actually accepted to pray with you as a dad or with their mom? And how many times Kareem said, no, Dad, I don't want to pray with you, and what did you do about that?
It's time for confession. I had to confess. I did not focus enough, but let me tell you, we used to pray at least every other day together, and their mom used to ask them if they like to pray with her. And when they were kids, we used to do it daily. But when they started their teenagers, they always kept saying, Mom, I will pray with myself, just forget me. But you know, because we used to pray, my wife and myself, together, we are trying to be كل يوم. I think both of them, they were praying before going to bed. And you know, they grew up in the church, in the house, seeing us talking about God even while taking our dinner. And you know, while we go, when we go for any fusha, I used to make some questions in the Bible, and we were making some fun games in the Bible and in the rituals of the church. They like the Coptic hymns, so Mireille always saying that, "Anta allamtana," this song when we were going to Al-Gharda'a. So we have some kind of good memories related to our relationship with God. It was never like a formal activity. It was always part of our family life. We used to see the TV together. We used to chat together. We used to eat together. I don't have enough time for my family, and that's the confession. But thank God their mother was focusing much more than me. And I guess they cannot pray without Agbeya, both of them. And they loved it. And both of them are knowing Tasbaha yumkin much more than I do it. And they love it. Also, I have to say that the church servants, they added to them a lot. They always had good role models in Sunday school teaching. And, you know, one of them are confessing to another priest in the church. One of them is confessing to me. But the father of confession has also a big role in this. But, you know, as some of you told us, it's necessary to be the role model of the parents and the family prayer. And it's, you know, not formal, there was no pushing. I remember many, many nights that they said, no, we don't want to pray with you. Okay. We never forced them. But when they grew up and became servants, when at any time when we say that, why don't we do a tasbih, some tasbih tonight, they always agree now. But sometimes came that they did not accept it easily.
Abuna, so I want to ask on behalf of the children, some of them may don't like to pray with their parents.
Usually.
What do you guys think? Do you always want to pray with your parents? Yes. Who's yes? Who's no?
Usually the yes.
So we have more no than yes, Abuna. So if I am a parent, what to do, and if I am a kid, what to do? And I hope you can answer, and maybe George also can help us.
If I'm a parent, you know, I would never force them. I will tell them, please make sure that you pray before sleeping. But I will never force him. It's not, you know, I believe, especially after the age of 8 or 9, we cannot force the relationship with God. It has to come, you know, by the free will. But being a role model and the environment of warmth, of love, will help this to go easy. If I'm a kid, you know, I think I have to obey, and I I would love to enjoy the blessing of sharing my parents, whatever they pray. But let me add one point, Hani Hana. Some of the kids are not happy with the the way the parents pray. Sometimes they pray bati awi, very slowly. Some other time they say that, Mama, you are saying many psalms, please يعني انجزي. عندنا بيقولوها كده انجزي يعني يعني خليكي بسرعة شوية أو قليل شوية. I think we should, respect the age. When they are very small, little, it's 5 minutes, very good. So after a few years, we may make it like 10 minutes, but we shouldn't push them to pray half an hour and they want to play.
I think one of the things that my advisors and my fathers always kind of taught me about this is nowadays kids need a bit of creativity when you're praying. Because the way that they're dealing with video games and stuff like that, their attention span is totally different than what we were at. And that's one of the things, I struggle with trying to get, for example, Lagbeya, it's a real serious struggle. When we grew up in Egypt, we were used to كان دايما أب اعترفنا نقول إيه, صلاة باكر وصلاة مثلا النوم. At this day and age, almost when I'm praying with them, I usually rotate the prayers. So it's not the same thing every day, and rotate it. Okay? So some days we may even say, صلاة الشكر مزمور 50, and then التحليل, and then another day we go المزامير and الإنجيل, especially if my 8-year-old or 9-year-old. Okay? That rotation sometimes makes a difference. The other thing which I felt made a big difference in my kids' prayers was that as we started as a family to talk about what's happening in their life, they've got a friend who's struggling, they've got something bad is happening, they feel a threat, they've just watched on TV, an explosion, okay? It's a real life event. It was like almost an instantaneous prayer at that time, just turning that event into a source of prayer, okay? I think one of the things we have to really get out, which I think these kids right now are making this connection, you almost have to get out of the formality of the prayer to get them to live it. We tend to tend to it has to be in the formal way.
But I want to add one point. I believe if you memorize many psalms in the young age, it will help you to enjoy praying psalms for the whole life. So I am recommending that the kids and the young people should study the Psalms and memorize many Psalms, as many as they can, because I think it's one of the blessings I had in my life. And I will tell you one story because it affected me so much. When I started to be a priest, I visited Deir Marimina, and I had a good time with Abuna Rafael Avamina, the beloved disciple of Baba Kyrillos. And there were many people who trying to get his blessing. So any woman coming saying, Abuna, please sallili, he just put his hand on her head and take my hand and to share his prayer. And then he told me, نقول إيه نقول احفظني يلا قول معاي احفظني يا رب أني عليك توكل. The prayer for Abuna Rafael on the head of anyone asking for any blessing is Psalms. That's the program of Baba Kyrillos. Praying Psalms was the powerful prayer he used to do. So this is the heritage, this is the fortune of our church. We cannot ignore that the power of Psalms is really, you cannot understand it easily when you are young. But with the days, with the years, you can feel the power of the Psalms. So always consider that the prayer, it's not fun time, it's kind of meal time. When you are eating your meal, your dinner or your lunch, maybe you are not focusing on the food, but you are eating something which will affect your health, which is very important to your life. So taking the meals. So I consider al-Agbeya like taking meals. It's kind of having the food of the Spirit. So maybe I do not like all what I'm eating, but still I need it. So when you think this way, you will keep praying even if you are not enjoying all the words, you are not focusing 100%, but still you need to pray as exactly as you need to eat. Even if you are not in a good health or you are not enjoying the meal, but still you need it. Okay,
I want to ask the question, if you don't mind, George, to the youth. So no one should be less than 18 answer this question. And if you have over 25, also don't answer the question. This question is only for those who are high school and college. I want you to help your younger brothers and sisters in answering these two questions. How did you handle boredom in liturgy? And how did you handle mom and dad telling you you have to pray? Can I ask my esteemed sons and daughters who are in college to help those who are younger and help the parents if you can advise? Okay, here.
To answer that question, I actually just want to echo what George said before. The youth, when it comes to the formality of prayer and the Agbeya, it's not just intimidating, but it's like, as you said, it becomes boring. The attention span isn't as, it's very short. What I tell my friends and what my friends tell me is that I find very effective. When you're praying a one-on-one prayer, make it a conversation. Make it like you're talking to someone who's actually right in front, like next to you. Make it as if you're talking to a friend and you're trying to have, you always have that one friend who you want to have an intimate conversation with. I know for me, when I want to have an intimate conversation, I call or I text the one friend. Make that one friend God, because it becomes a much deeper prayer when it's not so formal, in my opinion. I think it becomes more productive and you're more likely to get you feel a better result on the inside.
Okay, any other?
One thing that helped me get through the liturgy was the question is, what am I supposed to do during the liturgy? What does it mean to pray during the liturgy? Am I supposed to focus on Abuna's words, the words of the liturgy? And I asked one of the monks in the Texas monastery this question, and he said, we try so hard to be formal with God, but it doesn't require all that. So he said, someone talked about the monotony of the liturgy before. One thing that helps is to change up the game. So this week, I'm going to sing along with Abuna in my head. Next week, I'm going to focus on one word and meditate on it. And if we think of the number of words in the liturgy, and we took one of them to focus on for the whole liturgy, like we're going to run out of weeks before we end up dying. So there's enough things to do during the liturgy that it stays constant, but at the same time, it's not monotonous because we're doing something different every week. So that kind of just helped me get through it.
Any other youth who can help their parents how to handle kids who are complaining of boredom during liturgy, or even parents complaining of boredom during liturgy, or their younger children? How can we tell our young kids what to do as far as boredom in liturgy and or prayers? I need youth, please, who are in college, who passed this period already.
Okay. Mary McHale or Mark McHale, either one of you guys. Yeah, Mark is over there, yeah. Mark.
So I think one of the things I was going to say was, you have going off of what Amir said earlier, I think that part of what got me more interested in the liturgy was having an active process in it. So even being educated in one part of the liturgy, I would go and ask someone what does this part of the liturgy have to do with anything? What does this part of the liturgy mean to me? And knowing about what the institution narrative is, or knowing what this prayer is for, it kind of helps you realize what you're actually praying for. A lot of times we sit there in the liturgy and you don't understand what you're actually praying for. And that's one of the ways that you really see okay, I have a purpose. This is an active kind of prayer. And going back to what you said about Agbeya and liturgy, Those are things that have given us a way of like the structure, and it's almost like guidelines for the prayer. If I'm sitting there and praying in my bedroom, I'm going to be very all over the place. I don't really know what my purpose is in that prayer. And I think that also goes back to like being educated parents, like teaching the kids what the importance of the liturgy is, understanding what the Eucharist is, what the significance is of those different things that we have in the church.
Something that I felt so influential when I was raising my kids, and now I'm a grandma, of course. But when we made so many road trips when we went to vacations, so I feel that being in a car with the kids is a great opportunity to teach them whatever you want, to sing songs from the church. It's like they have all the attention that they can have during the trips. And also, no, this is from my experience. Yeah. And also, when we go on vacation, like we make it a rule, like every day we pray together before going to a beach or anything, and in the night we pray together. It's like wonderful time. The vacation time really.
So the vacation is not a vacation from prayer.
Is a wonderful time to the family to bind together in prayer and songs.
Thank you.
The other question I have is I want to know Abuna's mom, how she raised him like that.
I have a question first. I need you to advise me as a priest and to advise the deacons what to do to let you enjoy the Mass more, to feel the words more. Just give me advices, either the kids, the youth, or the parents. Give me and my brothers, priests, and the deacons. Give me some advices. How to let you enjoy the liturgy more than this, or as we believe that we enjoy it. Because I guess all the priests are enjoying praying. Not all the deacons, but let me say most of them. So, what do you advise? Recommendations, huh? Go ahead, يا حبيبي اللي يكلم يعلي صوته.
I heard this advice a few years ago, and I'm trying to practice it, which was to try not to be an observer in the liturgy, and take part, participate. I know that all this is for you, it's for me, and I'm part of it. I'm not there to watch what's going on and what's coming after what, and just feel like this is my opportunity to be with the one who loves me. That's all. And I thought that was successful.
Very good. But you know, again, my question is just give me
no, the advice is for Abuna.
For myself and for other deacons praying. Go ahead, ya Habibi, you have some. Go.
Well, I think it's very important to tell all the younger kids especially that everybody has a purpose in the church. Everybody has a purpose, from the deacons to the congregation. Everybody has a role to play in the churches, and especially during liturgy. And that'll help to kind of get all the temptations that the devil puts in our minds, kind of gets rid of them. Like one of the most common ones, for example, what am I going to do after this? What did I do before this? All those thoughts that the devil puts into our mind to distract us from the Holy Eucharist and the liturgy and all that. So I think it's very important to tell all the kids that they have a very important purpose.
Thank you.
Thank you. This is not my question.
So, I think what Abuna is trying to get to for the kids. So Abuna actually is the one asking advice for himself or for the deacons, not advice for the congregation. So Abuna actually is open to change, if I may say. So he's asking advice for him. So I think people now got the point. So let's start with here a little bit, and then we'll move over there to you, Gigi. Okay? Yeah, there's over. Oh yeah. over here. So let's start with this group here and move to this side of the hall.
متهيألي بيساعد لما الشمامسة بيصلوا بصوت واحد وهادي من غير زعاق وما يطولوش قوي في بعض الألحان الطويلة قوي. بيساعد إنه لو الشعب قدر يصلي مع الشمامسة مش بس يسمعهم.
يعني نتمنى ده كل اللي اقدر اقوله. يعني طبعا هقول لحضرتك حاجه، احنا للاسف يعني there is a culture shift من زمان، فكره المعلم والباقيين واقفين جنبه to the point of the choir. Okay, it's going to take us, I think, a couple of generations until we get to that point. But your point is very well taken.
But wait a minute, excuse me. According to the church philosophy or ideology, there was no muallim. It's always the congregation praising God.
The people.
The people. And the deacons are part of the congregation. And there should be only one voice heard. Not, of this man or that man. It's just of the whole church praying in one accord. So this is, I agree so much that we have to respect this. Nobody, trying to make his voice higher than others. احنا لازم نصلي كلنا ومع الشمامسة بروح واحد بصوت واحد. That's a good one. ايه تاني من غير ما نطول. He said also that we should not as deacons make all the songs with, much time, because this adds to the boring feeling.
Okay. Who's next? Yeah, in the back there. In the back there, and then نيجي لحضرتك back there. Okay. Yeah, هنا, yes.
بتهيألي أول حاجة اتعلمناها واحنا صغيرين أو جذبتنا للكنيسة من أيام أبونا بشوي كامل علاقته الشخصية بالشمامسة. سواء في القداس عارف مين جه مين ما جاش، مين كان واقف معوج، مين كان قاعد، مين كان صاحي معاه. احساس ان هو في بيرسونال اتنشن. لما بنطلع ريتريت بره او نخرج كان يلعب معانا كوره، ففي علاقه قويه بين ابونا والاطفال.
اوكي.
وده تقريبا برضو الشمامسه الكبار المفروض يدوا دور للصغيرين اكتر.
Thank you. So there are two advices here for the priests to come closer to the deacons and having good time together, and they know them one by one, and also for the old deacons to give some space for the younger generation to lead the service, not only just to stand up as deacons.
I personally think that also when Abuna and the deacons enjoy the liturgy, everyone enjoy the liturgy.
Yeah.
The second thing which I requested years ago from fathers, that if most of the deacons leave their place and go to the congregation, so I will when I'm standing and have a deacon next to me singing and praising, I'll think at least I'll also sing and praise.
In the back there, just حضرتك. Yes.
الحقيقة أحب أحكي عن تجربة شخصية. لما كنت في السن ديت كنت لما بقف ورا خالص في صحن الكنيسة كنت ببقى شايف الناس كلها وبقعد أتفرج وأفتكر أنا عملت إيه وفلان عمل إيه فيا، فكان بيبعدني أكتر. لما بدأت أكبر تغلبت عن هذه الحكاية، يعني بحيث إن أنا بقيت في الصف الثاني الأول في الكنيسة وشايف الناس ورا مني ما أنا شايفها، ففكري بعد عنهم. فأنا عايز أطبق ده على الشباب الصغير خاصة الشمامسة، بدل ما يقف بظهره كده ومدي المسبح على يمينه يدي ظهره للشعب وفوكس بس على المسبح. اعتقد انها هتجيب نتيجه.
Thank you. So we can move to the front here and I'll translate quickly. So basically what he was saying is that instead of you standing in the back, stand in the front and always facing the altar will give you a chance to understand it more. Yes. Okay.
I think one really advice is the language that is used in the liturgy. So a lot of the young kids, they don't really like when Abuna prays in Arabic or in Coptic because they don't understand it. So they spend most of the time not even paying attention to what is Abuna saying because they just don't like it.
Thank you. Sharif in the back there, and then we'll come this way. We'll slowly come to you, promise. Sharif, you had your hand up. Okay.
I guess القبطي صعب جدا بس الحاجة اللي ممكن تحل الموضوع ده اللي هو يكون في سكرين فيها العربي والإنجليزي والقبطي وأنا واحد من الناس بصراحة ما كان القداس بالنسبة لي ممل جدا لأنه كان كله قبطي وأنا ما فهمش حاجة في القبطي خالص بس بعد ما جت السكرين it's very easy, very smooth.
So having the screen in both Coptic, Arabic, and English. Yes, Sharif, yeah, go ahead. Oh, in the yellow, and then we'll go to this side. Let's just make them short comments, please, so we can get as many as we can.
I was privileged to go to Kenya with you, and I remember on Sunday Mass, I sat in the front being a stranger and a foreigner to the church there, and then suddenly I saw a swarm of orphan kids come in, and they pushed us back. They made us sit in the back, and it was beautiful to see the children in the front pews, because to echo the point, when you're in the front of the church, you're less likely to be distracted. You're less likely to be occupied by anything else. And today, everybody has a cell phone, even the adults, even the priests. Everybody's on their cell phone, sometimes doing important things in the middle of Mass. So to me, I think we should move our youth to the front. Because the youth come in late, unless they're shamamsa, they'll sit somewhere in the back, they'll sit together upstairs.
So trying to get them more in the front.
And they lose attention.
Yes.
So to me, we need to put the older people a little bit back, like 3 or 4 rows, and get all the kids and the children in the front. They will participate if you do that.
Thank you.
We have to finish in 5 minutes عشان الشباب ما يزهقوش يعني. Okay. Next حبيبي. لا دي واحدة في ناس ورا. Excuse me. معلش. Excuse me.
تفضلي. Go ahead.
Is it on? I just wanted to add in terms of advice for the deacons and Abuna, the ways of engaging the girls more in the liturgy. I understand that there are ways that they can't be involved, but I think we lose a lot of the girls because they feel disconnected from a lot of what happens in the liturgy.
Sounds good. Can we just, for the sake of representation, take a comment or two from the corner over there in the very back? Just over in the back. Just go from the back over there. Just we'll take 2 comments from over there, and then we'll have to call it a night. I'm sorry.
يعني احنا الشعب كله لما بيسمع ابونا بيصلي والشمامسه بيصلوا حضرنا وعظه مره ابونا بيشرح ازاي القداس بيتعمل كل موف ابونا بيعمله القربانه بتتقسم ازاي الصلاه بتتعمل ازاي كل صلاه الابونا بيقولها كانت مهمه جدا فحسينا الشعب ممكن يتفاعل مع القداس ويعرف ان ده جسد ودم المسيح دون والمسيح على المسبح بكل الشرح يعني يفهمونا ازاي القداس.
Thank you. So last comment over there, Gigi, in the back there. So that was the comment was basically that the more we learn about the liturgy, the more we're going to be able to be participating in it. So that was a comment directed to a lot of you guys. Go ahead, last comment.
I know, I won't be long, but there is a lot of disconnect because, like somebody mentioned before, the kids cannot understand the Coptic and the Arabic, especially when it's being said in the liturgy. So we thank God that we have a new priest at our church, and he's pretty young. He actually proposed having a liturgy, especially in English, that will be much shorter. The kids will be involved and engaged in it. Nobody will even get on their phones.
So like a kid's liturgy?
Like a kid's liturgy. Yeah. But whoever wants to come in, from the youth and even the teens, they would be able to. However, unfortunately, he was opposed completely, and that idea was an absolute failure.
It's kind of interesting you mentioned that, Gigi, because I've heard this comment from a couple of different churches, and I don't know, Abuna, what you think about this, but
I mean, this is
several churches have
put
stopped doing their kids' liturgy for a reason or another, which I don't know why. So I agree very much with what you're saying, Gigi, but it's interesting.
I have one comment to say, like Sharif was saying earlier when we went to Kenya, for example, something that really touched me is attending a mass in the Kenyan church, and that was a Coptic Orthodox. It was very weird to find that the Kenyan people have implemented the Kenyan culture and the music into the church. And therefore, when this happened, it was like dancing and music, and it was so different for us. And we couldn't comment on anything because that is their culture. So right now, our kids are growing up in a different culture. We cannot impose older stuff on them. I'm not saying we're going to change our Orthodox church because it is Orthodox, and Orthodox is old, and that's like clinging to the traditions of the liturgy. But we do not want to lose the heart of the church because the kids cannot engage.
I think the idea of the kids' liturgy is unfortunately, is very underutilized.
Well,
I really think a lot of churches need to adopt this kids' liturgy because also it gives the kids more role, like that whole point of like having a role in the church. It gives them more chance to have a role.
And maybe teach them what the
True.
liturgy is all about.
Very true.
Like this lady here was saying, you know, explain every
Yeah.
single move and
Thank
every
you.
single prayer, and this way everybody will be more
Thank you,
engaged.
Gigi. Thank you. Abuna Hannah had last comment. Sorry.
أنا آسف إن أنا أبونا أقول هذا التعليق يعني.
تفضل يا أبا.
أنا يعني الكلام ده بقوله من الناس التعليقات الناس في الكنيسة. أي حاجة تجذب أو تلفت النظر بتاع الموجودين في الكنيسة، إن كان صوت عالي ده بيعمل، طبعا ده علميا يعني الصوت العالي ما بيخليش فيه تركيز في الكنيسة، يعني بيعمل تشتيت في الكنيسة.
اوكي.
وبعدين مش صوت عالي بس، صوت عالي يجي ابونا صوت واطي. الديفرنس ده برضه بيخلي الناس مش مظبوط. المفروض الكنيسة يبقى فيها صوت واطي وليه رتم واحد. دي نمرة واحد. نمرة اتنين، ولادنا في الكنيسة أحيانا لما بنسيب ولادنا في الكنيسة يجروا، برضه ده بيلفت، بيضيع، بيشتت كل الانتباه بتاع الكنيسة. فأنا أذكر مرة كان في 3 روس ساكنين جنب الكنيسة وكانوا بيحضروا القداس، فأنا سألتهم طب أنتوا مش فاهمين؟ قالوا لي إحنا حاسين بالروح بتاع القداس. ومرة شفنا العذراء مريم، ده هم بيقولوا، واقفة على جنب المذبح. الحاجة التانية اللي عايز أقولها بالنسبة للقبطي، أنا هقول الكلمة دي بس. بالنسبة للقبطي مش ممكن إحنا هنعدم القبطي، لكن يعمل إيه بقى؟ مدارس الأحد والشمامسة وأبونا يتفقوا على إن إحنا هنقول جزء واحد معين بالقبطي لغاية ما الناس تحفظه. يعني نعلمه لهم في مدارس الأحد ونفهمه لهم ونقوله، فهم يضطروا يقولوا إيه معانا ويبقوا فاهمينه لغاية مرحلة في مرحلة لغاية يبقوا فاهمين القداس أو معظم الألحان بالقبطي. وشكرا.
شكرا لك يا بون. Thank you for all. By the way, we want to make a تسبيحة mostly in English, so the deacons can come here, and we will make like only less than 30 minutes تسبيحة. I want to give you just an idea to complete the story of, you know, when you realize what you are doing, what you are going to do, you will enjoy it more. We will pray like only 3 hosts, 3 canticles. The first host, the second, the third. The first one is the praising God given by Moses and his people. It was written in the book of Exodus, chapter 15. So we will praise God because he gave us the gift of baptism, the gift of salvation. He saved us. And we passed over death by the crucifixion of our Lord and by having the gift of baptism. This is the first host. And you know, in the music of the Coptic church, the host pieces are like what we call marsh كده يعني ايه توتي of Hossein J. Moises, rhythmic, very rhythmic. Then after this, you know, rhythm, it will come a melody. So people will not get bored because we will not keep this rhythm for like 10 minutes. It will never exceed 5 minutes. Then the melody, which we call the lopsh. اللوبش معناها let's explain what we are praising God for. We are explaining the meanings of the praises given by Moses to our life now. The second host, the words of the Psalm of David, the very famous one, which is إلى الأبد رحمته, for His mercy forever. You know, this psalm, we will praise God, the second host, because God saved us because He is merciful. So after praising Him for the salvation, we are praising Him for being merciful. The third one related to the the three saintly children, or the three young men, when they were in the fire. So even we can praise God while being in fire, in problems, in hardships. So this is the third one. We will only pray these three together, and I need the الديكونز اللي عارفين الانجليش يجوا قدام. We the old will pray مرة عربي مرة قبطي، لكن هم هيكملوا انجليش طول الوقت عشان يقدروا يركزوا. I think الوردز هتبقى available على الشاشة. هنقول الثلاث هسات بس، اللي عاوز يقعد خليه قاعد، اللي عاوز طبعا ينام تصبح على خير. بكرة القداس هنبتدي باكر هنا 6:30 7 سيدنا المفروض يرفع الحمل. اتفضلي نصلي. مش هناخد نص ساعة، أقل من نص ساعة، غالبا 20 minutes. حلوني أبا، حد من الشباب هيجي جنبنا؟ أوكي. أمين الليلويا كريا ليسون كريا ليسون توتي أبهوسن جيمويسيس نمنن شيرم بسرائيل إيتاي هوزين تبشو سوى أبغوس دروغوس جيمارن هوس ابشو جيخن أو غرابيتشي أو